also have, let's see, Iowa State going to Akron. Why they scheduled that game, I have no idea, but they're only about a 10-point favorite. A game that I thought was going to be a decent game in the offseason, but hasn't turned out this way. Duke is hosting Baylor. I expected Baylor, of course, to be 2-0, and Matt Rule to have something going there at this point, and that to be a nice little under-the-radar matchup between mid-tier Big 12 and ACC teams. Arizona State, Texas Tech trying to return the favor after it lost at Sun Devil Stadium last year. That could be, again, for guys like us who think through all the rankings and all the teams and all the seedings, that could be another feather in the cap of the Big 12 if they win. I'm not going to say as expected, but I think Texas Tech should beat Arizona State at home. So more opportunities for the Big 12 to boast its resume even further over the other Power Fives.
I have to back you up just a little bit, okay? Because you glanced over Iowa State, Akron. Don't know why they scheduled them. They scheduled them for bowl eligibility, because that's how a team like Iowa State gets to go to a bowl game, by scheduling those teams. If they have to get some wins in the non-conference to make it happen, because in the round robin, they're never going to get enough wins in the round robin with where they are at as a program right now to get to a bowl game. So they schedule those wins there, because that at least gives them a fighting chance. Bowl games are everything. Baylor and Duke, let's just get this out of the way. Baylor's going to lose this game in a big way. They are not any good. They are the basement team of the Big 12. Kansas is no longer in the basement. Baylor is in serious trouble of not winning a game. They were flat out beat by Liberty, and then they came out as a 17-point favorite against UTSA, and that might have been the spread of the century. Put your mortgage on it, because Liberty lined up and beat them, and apparently nobody understood that they thought it was a fluke win. It wasn't a fluke. Liberty was the better team. UTSA was the better team. Duke is clearly the better team.
Duke just beat Northwestern last week by like 31 points. Pretty impressive showing. 24 points, I believe, 41-17. So what I'm going to give you right now to wrap up our conversation, Chris, is my top 5 rankings. So I have totaled the wins and the losses for the conferences, and then the wins and the losses against the Power 5 and even against ranked teams, which I kind of marginalize the ranked team component, because I think that's made up by humans just like me ranking the teams, especially at this point in the season. But so this is more based on feel. So this isn't my official rankings, but as you were talking earlier in the conversation and we were trying to sort out and separate these conferences, this is how close I think it is. And I gave it again, this is just off the top of my head, and I know somebody out there, or probably 10 people, are going to hold me to this. I got the SEC with a 7.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. I got the ACC with a 7, the Big 10 with a 6, the Big 12 with a 5.5, and the Pac-12 with a 5. And no, I didn't think at the time when I was doing this that I was separating them all equally by only a half point. But I think it's actually, based on the results the first 2 weeks, that close.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I'm not going to argue with the Big 12 being 4th, because we don't know. I think that I'm kind of glancing, because I don't know who else has 2 teams in the Pac-12 has, maybe everybody but the ACC has 2 teams in the top 10 like the Big 12. So I'm not going to argue with much of that. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is very, very close. And this week there's a lot of matchups that will help kind of separate it a little bit.
All right, Chris Ross, you got to join him if you love the Big 12 and college football by extension on thelgg.com. So it's the Land Grant Gauntlet, thelgg.com, for the best in Big 12 football coverage. Chris, we always appreciate the discussion.
Thank you. I always love being on.